So, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 5 of season 2 of the Rise podcast. Today we have Stella.
Hello.
Many of you know Miss Stella. If you are a part of our community or if you follow our page, she's everywhere. Um, and today is going to be a fun one. Like I've said many times, I like my favorite podcasts are the ones where I feel like I'm having a chat with a friend. And that's easier when you do have a friend. So I'm excited to have Stella today to have a chat. Before we go and talk about what we're actually going to be discussing, um, I always like to give a couple of minutes for you to introduce yourself and say hi and tell us something about you. So, Stella, hi.
Hi. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for having me. As you already said, I am Stella. I am a teacher of our tiny ones, and I moved to Cyprus nearly 2 years ago, and that's my first job in Cyprus. Working in this amazing school.
Yes. Thankfully, as soon as you came over, I grabbed you from the airport.
Yes. It was meant to be.
As soon as you step foot back in this country, you are mine. Yeah. So it's absolutely um amazing to have you with us as a teacher. But the topic today isn't actually about anything to do with you as a teacher or us as teachers or any level of profession anything from our professional life. But you are here today because this episode was actually inspired by you, by a conversation that we've had once over coffee, which was about the power of community when raising children. Um,
Yeah,
so as you said, you moved here nearly 2 years ago, but you have two children. Your children were born in the UK.
abroad. Yes, exactly.
And they were relatively older when you came over here. So when you moved over here, they were three,
8, 3 and 8. Yeah,
3 and 8. So you raised them for a while in
yeah,
a country that wasn't yours.
exactly.
Um, and the reason I really like this topic is because I've had conversations with people like you, and I've had conversations with other people about this topic. And there's other people that say, I preferred being on my own. I preferred being away from my community,
Yeah.
from being away from my family because it's too overwhelming. So this is why I really was excited about doing this topic because there's so many different viewpoints. So you, as I said, you gave birth in the UK. You don't have family in the UK, correct?
No, no, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Now that one of your children was born during the COVID period, so
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
it's difficult to develop a community
It was
around
really
that one.
difficult. Yeah. Yeah, but what is, if we want to give a term of, what a community is, it's what is a community? It's a group of people living in the same place, having, particular characteristic in common, like, we have the same interest, values, traditions.
Mhm.
And in my case, the most influential people in my life were my parents. But I have memories as well, from my teachers as well, that they helped me shape who I am today. They were giving me valuable lessons as well, and they stimulate a love and interest for learning. They inspire me in a way, and they encourage me to reach my goals. So it's not just the parents.
Mhm.
Community can be teachers, can be friends, can be siblings.
Yeah. So that is an interesting point that what we view as community depends a lot on the experiences we've had in our own childhood.
Yeah.
Um, so you had, other than your parents, you felt that you felt that you had a community outside of your family.
Yes, yes, because I think community is not just the parents, it's also who is involved in your early life, in when you're a grown up. Is the friends that you share experiences with them, you have memories, you have meaningful conversation, and many other people that they do many things to help parents raising children.
What's really interesting is that I don't have, when I remember my childhood, I only remember family. Like, okay, my family is quite overbearing. We're a huge family and it's quite toxic. There's a lot of everyone is in everyone's business.
Yes.
And it's what's yours is mine and what's your business is my business. And so growing up, I don't actually have this memory, as you said, of having teachers, of having friends around your family that became part of your community. My community was my family.
Yeah,
So when I think of community, I think of
you just think to your parents.
I think of my parents and I think of my
Yeah,
siblings and I think of my grandmother. I don't think
yeah,
of, whereas,
of teachers. And like for me, I have a strong memory of my nursery teacher, for example, for my piano teacher or my ballet teacher. I really, how they influenced me, and later in my life, because I was very into sport, my coach, and I think they influenced me and they inspire me in so many different ways. So for me, community is not just, it's not just my parents.
so did having this feeling of community, when you gave birth to your children in the UK and you started raising your children and you didn't have your parents, did you struggle with the concept of finding a community there?
Of course, yes. Sometimes when I went to UK to study, and then I stayed there, and then I had my two children, and then somehow you feel that there are lots of people outside that they say she's not gonna make it, or she's gonna go back to her parents, and that made me think, no, I'm gonna prove them wrong, and I stayed just to prove, some people the opposite, but that in the long term it wasn't good for me as a person, because I did have a community there, especially in UK. I did have a community of, like, with my children. There are so many play groups around. I did have support, but it wasn't the same community as it was, in Cyprus, because we didn't have the same culture, the same tradition, the same interest to share.
So I like the fact that you mentioned play groups and that, because I think living in Cyprus, there's so many international families. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of families, especially like in what
Yeah.
we do in our school, we meet a lot of families that have moved to Cyprus, and they don't have anyone. They're not with their family.
Yeah. But they are
And
looking for a
and
community.
they're looking for
For a
community.
community. Yeah. So when I was studying, I studied in a university where there are not Cypriot people, and I remember myself like looking where can I find a Greek community. I want to speak my language. I want to to find people that we have the same tradition, the same interest. And then I felt that I lost my community, a sense of my own identity.
So what I'm hearing a lot is that it affected you as a parent. What do you feel about the children?
What I feel about the children, that I believe that the children, parents need a community around them, because they need support, because they say happy parents, happy children, right? So, and I strongly believe this, because when I had my own children, uh, they were born abroad, and it was a real challenge to manage everything. So I do believe that children, they need a community, they need people, they need grandparents, in order for them to be to to be um, to have that social, and to develop social and emotional skills, to feel that they belong somewhere.
Yeah, I do agree. Look, when I had my children, I had a community. I gave birth to my children in Cyprus. I had my parents. I had my siblings. I had people around me. I saw my mum every single day, so supportive. She was there for everything. But what I felt, ironically, was what you had, which was I had my family, but I didn't have anyone outside of my family, which I struggled with that. So I felt quite isolated from others who I felt understood me. And that's why I'm such a fan of these play groups that happen, uh,
Yeah.
which they're not a lot. There's not a lot in Cyprus. There's not as many as there are in the UK and
Um,
Cyprus, which is sad. There are some lovely ones, and that's when I went and seeked out play groups so that I could make a community. Um, but I think from my perspective, my children benefited more from having my family around than they did, the community that I tried to seek out.
yeah.
But I guess it's not always an option for people to have both. Um,
No, no.
but that's why we always say at our schools, like we always talk about having a community, because we do have a lot of international families, and it's so nice for somebody to come to another country and be kind of embraced into this
Yeah,
community that is there for them. And we say, like, meet this person and meet this person, and let's get you together for this play date
yeah.
and so on. Um,
It's a
so
powerful force, I think, for growing up happy children, to have a
I
community.
agree. I agree. I think some of the nicest, because I was having a conversation with one of our mums here as well, and she was talking about how important she feels community is. And there and she's from Israel, and I know the Israeli community here especially, they're so supportive of each other, and
Someone.
and one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard was this particular mom. She was going through something very difficult, and her husband had to help out a lot. And I said to the husband, if you ever need help, please, I don't want you to be alone. Come, call me, call us. We will be there. And he said, don't worry, the community is being so supportive.
Jobs. Yeah,
And it was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard, that they're not family at all. They're
yeah,
they're friends.
yeah.
but
But they are
they're there for each
friends.
other.
They are friends from her own country.
Yeah, they have common, like you said before, they have a common.
And yeah, they share the same language, the same culture.
Yeah.
But uh, but my I don't my stay there in UK has become an essential part of my life, to answer questions about the importance of community and of supporting uh, of supporting me when raising children. And I'm feeling grateful for these experiences and opportunities I had during my stay there. And I know that, communities, they try their best to make sure that everyone has the same chances to benefit from the good things of life, to enjoy well-being, and to have opportunities to progress.
But now that you've moved back to Cyprus,
I'm a different person.
you're because you have that
Um,
natural community of
yeah,
family.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's what, and if I am happy, then my children will be happy. Then, I think you need to have a nice balance of everything. As you say, I can't have everything, but you can have a healthy lifestyle. You can balance work, family, leisure.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're alone, obviously, and you don't have people around you, you can't do that.
Yeah, and especially for moms, because moms sometimes they might feel isolated or lonely. So when you have people around you that they can really support you, it's really good. It's really beneficial for the parents and for moms especially.
That's the one side, but the other side, which again, the reason that I really wanted to have this conversation with you is because I know that you have experienced all sides of this coin. You've experienced the looking for a community, you've experienced the natural community of the family, and then there's the other side, which is when it actually becomes overbearing. And this is
Yeah,
a lot of the times my experience in myself. Not so much now, my kids are older, but especially when they were babies, and it was everyone telling you what to do and everyone having an opinion and everyone knowing the correct answer
absolutely.
uh,
Yeah,
and
that's some of the problems that you, yeah, that there's some problems, like, yeah, with like parents, they might step into your life, and you think that there is a lack of privacy, or they can tell you like ways of raising your children. But I think you can find ways to overcome problems like this by setting boundaries, but nicely and with love and kindness. Then I think you can achieve a nice balance. If you set up your boundaries from the beginning,
Mhm.
then I think you can find ways of to have a nice balance, not to be, too much, and avoid arguments between you and your community, your parents.
which I don't think that's something that we think of when we have children. It's not something I ever predicted when I had children that I'd have to set up these boundaries. And because you didn't predict it, you didn't prepare for it. And then you do get
Yeah.
into these conflicts of because you don't understand that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think it is something that a lot of new parents or parents to be should be made aware of, that there is beautiful aspects to having a community, but there should be some boundaries in place.
Boundaries. Yeah.
And I think a big takeaway from this topic is that I think there should be a nice, well-rounded community around people. In my
Yeah.
opinion, it is nice if it's possible to have that, what I refer to as a natural community of the family. If you can have that, but you should seek out
Yeah.
external community like friends and like-minded
And
people. But what would be your advice to somebody of how to do that? So somebody now is listening to this and they're new in Cyprus, they're new in the UK, they're new in Dubai, they're new
yeah,
somewhere, they don't know anyone, they don't have family, they have a baby. How did you do it? What did you do? Where did you go?
I think I think we have to find ways of making our life more simple, without so much stress to focus on the real values, on the essential things to raise happy children, because without community, we don't feel that we have identity, and we cannot have positive relationship with others. And especially for foreign people, they need to be connected with a community because they can find friends, they can share culture, and they can offer and receive help when it's needed.
How should they begin? So you mentioned play groups.
Yes, I think playgroups it's a good starting point, especially, you mean when you're abroad or when
Yeah.
you are
So like
in
when you were in the UK and you had your children and you didn't have your family around and you wanted a community.
yeah.
What did you do?
At the
How did you
beginning
find
at,
it?
at the beginning, to be honest, I just, at the beginning I wanted to be just me. I wanted to be by myself. But then after a while you realize that you need people around you, you need community. So the best thing I think I did is just, you look up online in your area about play groups, and then I ended up like every single day I was in a different playgroup. I was in a different, meeting people, and I think that's why I never felt lonely. But again, it wasn't the same community as we have in Cyprus. It's completely different.
Yeah.
But it's a really good, starting point just to meet other moms and have play dates.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure in Cyprus if we have all of these opportunities.
I think
But
there is
what,
there
what
are there are a couple of play groups. I know there are. I think there are ways for not too many. I wish there was more in Cyprus for to give new families ways to connect. But
yeah,
I think it is important. I think it is very important. I agree with you that for children to be happy, their home has to be a happy place. And for the home to be a happy place, the parents have to be calm and they have to be happy and they have to be fulfilled. And having people around you is important. Because it is quite lonely, especially when you're a new mum, you're a new
yeah.
parent. It is quite lonely if you don't have that.
And especially in this, we live in a world now that, both parents are working. There, we are working long hours, so it's difficult for the new moms to find the time even to go to these play groups, because I know, in UK we are lucky enough to have that one year from the government to be not to be back at work. But in Cyprus, it's completely different. Some moms, they return back to work after just 3 months, so they don't have the opportunity to find play groups and and to um to meet new people.
So I think if anyone's listening and they want to start a play group, let's open some more
Maybe
play
that's a
groups.
very good.
Maybe we need more people to open play groups. There's already some lovely ones, but let's open some more. Let's do it.
Yes,
I actually
why
met
not?
the first friend I actually met when I was a new mum was at not a play group, at an indoor play area. And that's the first mum friend I ever made, was in an indoor play area. So I think that's another place for people to go to meet others
Yeah,
and get that community. And then after I met her, she introduced me to others, and I made a community outside of my family
fine.
who were at the time driving me absolutely crazy.
It's crazy.
So, so it was really lovely to meet her. Um, but yeah. Well, look, I think we've covered all sides of this coin. I think it's a very relatable topic, and I hope that
Yeah.
with topics like this, I always hope that somebody listening feels less alone when they hear
Yes.
that it's okay to feel this way, it's okay to feel lonely, it's okay to feel suffocated. It's all, there's many different feelings happening. And yeah, I just think it's important for people who are going through something like this to know you are not alone. This is a very common feeling. There are ways to overcome it. It's something that might pass, that does pass
Of course.
eventually. So I do want to say thank you for sharing. I know it's not very
Thank
easy
you.
to share, so like a lot of information about your life, but I do appreciate it, and I really thank you for having a
Thank you so
chat with
much.
me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being a part of my community. And thank you to everyone for listening. We will say bye for now, and we will see you next time.
See you next. Bye.
Bye.